You're muted.
Bells and belts. We welcome you back on a Wednesday, on a free for all Wednesday. Got Man Up, we got Bro Stuff. I got our good friend from Champions Belt Club, Jason Davis, and I'm Cedric Dean of Beats the B. Welcome back to Bells and Belts. We're gonna dive into a couple things today and do what we normally do. Bro Stuff, what's a good word, good brother?
Well, welcome to the show this week. We're glad if you're joining us. Also, if you're watching us on YouTube, but you're not in the Facebook group, you are wrong. No, I'm kidding. Just join the Facebook group for real. It's Bells and Belts Podcast. Just look it up. And, and then if you're watching on Facebook and you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, what are you doing? You got to do that.
Yeah. So this is our monthly free for all thing. Just to remind you guys. This show is basically for you guys to ask us any question that you have in regards to wrestling history, and we would do our best to address those. Like we got Jason Davis, who's a freaking savant in regards to wrestling freaking knowledge. And if you ain't tuned into our freaking WrestleMania trivia party you missed a freaking treat because he put a freaking gem together last week again. So thanks again for that, and we're always happy to have him on board. But every month we do this free for all. So this is your chance. If you can't get your questions into us like during our regular shows, drop them right here. This is what we're here for. Man up. Good evening to you, sir.
Good evening. Good evening. How you feeling today?
No question is how you feeling, man.
Man, I'm just out of it today.
Yeah,
had a long day, but I gotta be here for my guys, man. Gotta be here for the show. You know how it goes.
Hey, I had to check on you, man, because after Sunday was a rough day for you, man. I think you were feeling a kind of way that a lot of wrestling fans out there feeling. They feel like you got that feeling that Roman Reigns will never lose. In fact, hold on, give me a second here.
Yeah.
Yep.
It hurts because it's true.
Hey,
yeah.
The truth hurts, huh, Jason?
Yeah, it's painful. It's painful.
But hey, I'm not like the other video you showed though, where they dude trying to rip the seat out the stadium. Oh, that was ridiculous.
I'm not. Everybody's wrestling fandom is their own wrestling fandom. Whatnot. Someone's going to take it to whatever level of investment is. I mean, you have yours. Everybody else has theirs. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah.
But Joey put up a graphic. I'm sorry, Joey, I didn't upload it. But Einstein said what?
The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different outcome. That is literally, if any saying fit WWE in a nutshell, to me, that's it. And it's tribal fans that watch religiously and never give up and watch and hope things will change, but they never do. You're just mad because it didn't.
I'm gonna put it. I was thinking about this earlier when you posted this. When I'm putting things in the context, it's been the wrestling game for the longest as well. Whereas folks are waiting for that payoff and waiting for the payoff, and it doesn't happen. They make them folks wait a little bit longer. It's not something that WWE do. That has happened in the business as well. So, because I recall, well, if the back when Flair had his freaking run and whatnot, folks couldn't get the belt off Flair. Folks were getting frustrated to try to get the belt off Flair. He didn't. Flair had his year long reigns. It's the same story. You thought he had to win. Oh no, he got disqualified. Person wins, but he retains the title. Stuff like that. So It's just a matter of context. It's probably more along the lines that WWE is going to be the unofficial scapegoat in this.
Well, no, it's their fault. They've conditioned their fan base to expect it. I mean, here's the cardinal rule of booking. This is pro wrestling booking 101. You do not let the fans dictate your booking. You do not do that. They've done that. They've allowed that to happen. And now when the fans think that they're dictating the booking and they don't get what they want, now they feel like they're being cheated, because it happened with the Daniel Bryan. Now, did the fans decide Daniel Bryan was winning the championship? No, obviously not. But they did cave and change a lot of some of their creative to match up to what the current fan thing happened. It happened also with Kofi Kingston. When you condition your fan base to think that they are in control of creative, it's your own fault when it backfires. The rest of the wrestling business didn't do that.
So it just comes down to just. I'll put it like this: Do you think that they're trying to get away from that now? Whereas the voice of the fans is dictating what they're doing, or
No, I think they're just going ahead with their long-term booking and their planning and stuff like that. It's amazing to me that it's so far removed from the traditional WWE booking, and yet everyone thinks Vince is booking it. I mean, even the Ruthless Aggression area and all the guys from there, how many guys became 13, 14-time champions? Well, guess what, man? It's not about this is what WWE fandom has come to is, well, you're measured by the number of championships you've won. And that's doesn't matter in professional wrestling. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares. It's all just stats are not a thing in pro wrestling. Okay. You're taking the stuff people care about in sports like NBA or something like that, and you're applying it to professional wrestling.
But I want to take a look at this comment. He said they should have had a riot. Cody had too much stacked against him. It's okay though. We saw how weak the champion is now. Okay, and
it's kind of the point.
Yeah. Like they saying how weak the champion is. The champion is a heel.
Yeah, he's doing exactly what he's supposed to do.
Exactly. So
what is he supposed to do? If he comes out, listen, if Roman Reigns comes out there and has honor in every match and wins every match straight up, he's not going to have any heat. The heat he has comes from the cheating. That's that's being a heel.
Thus, when folks are upset when he has to cheat to win, because it's the same thing that's constantly happens, whatnot. If folks get upset, that's heat. Yeah. That's heat. I mean,
I'm listening. Go ahead.
I'm just going to say though, because the only thing I will criticize him about is the way he hits a spear looks very weak.
He going there. Oh, we got Cody was robbed.
It's fake, dude. Pro wrestling is fake.
Jason, you brought up a good point on prize that's coming on. You want to talk about you felt that you felt it was a little too early for Cody?
Yeah, I think there's kind of two things I would touch on in this, and the first one's kind of important. I think that people need to kind of think about this. WWE isn't a wrestling company anymore. WWE is a multi-billion-dollar, multi-entertainment sort of conglomerate. It's a movie producer, it's a music producer, it's a television producer. It's these superstars that we have now. These WWE superstars are not just wrestlers anymore. They're personalities that have to be able to live and be able to switch and transfer into all of these other endeavors that they have. So you need to be able to take somebody from a ring and put them in a movie. You need to be able to put somebody in a TV show, reality TV show, whatever the case may be, like The Miz, for example, and or the Divas show or any of the other stuff they had in the past. So when they're writing this stuff, they're not writing it like they're not really, and I think that's where the frustration comes. They're not writing it like wrestling anymore. They're writing it like a movie. They're running it like it's a TV show, and because of that, the sort of taking off what Joey said earlier about the fans being conditioned to sort of expect a certain result. A lot of that, I think, is because the lines get blurred with WWE in the entertainment, various areas that these people occupy, whether it's movie or TV or whatever. They start to feel like they know these people. They have some ownership over these people. They have some ownership over a happy ending or the way that they want things to go. Yeah. And that's where all this stuff kind of gets blurred. I also think that Cody coming in right now, it's kind of a double-edged sword. One of the reasons Cody, I think, was so over so quickly is because he presented him. He was sort of obviously had the allure of coming directly out of AEW right into the WWE. In the same sort of in the same breath, I also think that he still has the aura of AEW on him somewhat. And I think that they're not going to put a world title on him until he goes through enough programs within the company itself to be perceived internally as a WWE guy, which is probably another year out at least. I think he's got some gauntlets to run through.
Exactly, and one call was established on Monday with Brock Lesnar. So we shall see how that unfolds as Cody continues his story and try to fulfill the dream. Here's this comment here: WWE is like General Hospital to me all over again. All you have to do is tune in and not miss what's going to happen. Wrestling is the male soap opera. It is what it is.
I got a good point to make for you right here. Piggyback it off of what Jason was saying. I think that, and I want to get this across because we actually talked about this before another show, and I didn't talk about it.
Okay.
So I've been backstage at a ton of different wrestling shows in multiple levels. In addition to that, I also have worked in like television commercials and a lot of different things on the television end I've emceed modeling runway shows. I've done a lot of weird stuff with like announcing and entertainment in general. So where I'm going to come at you for this is, and I've said this before, WWE is not a professional wrestling company at all. They are a TV show that puts on some kind of parody of professional wrestling matches, but puts it on in a way and is presented like, a television drama. It just so happens to be. No joke. I mentioned before, I was like, well, hell, why don't we just like have a Jerry Springer format and put a ring out there and then do that? Because you know what I mean? I said that before to somebody who does like had done creative up there to WWE, and he was like, damn, we're damn near at that. And so my perspective is I've been backstage at wrestling shows, lots of different ones. I've been backstage at TV shows, like lots of different ones. I can tell you for being backstage at WWE that it is run like a television product. There's nothing about it when you're backstage at a WWE event, even a live event. It's not run like that. That's why the whole damn thing comes on the big Titantron at the live events, recapping the TV. The live events are just advertisements for you to watch the damn shows and pay-per-views. It's not, WWE is not trying to lie to you. They're not presenting it in any way like wrestling. It is and has been for however many freaking decades. It's been a TV show, a TV drama at that.
Newsflash: he was, but
I have promoted shows.
Yeah, so just saying. Oh, but yeah, Jason, a piggyback on that.
Yeah, I think when the territory period ended and Vince moved to cable and started it stopped being about the traveling and it stopped being about the towns and it started being about the episodic TV and the pay-per-views and the payoffs and the whole business model shifted at that time to be about that. And then of course over the years now it's also expanded into a movie film studio, TV production studio, music producer, and all these other things that they've got their hands in every haddock. I mean, they're practically Disney, right? Essentially, right? They've got their hands in everything. and they're going to write their stories, and they're going to use their talent in a way that is as politically correct and as generally appealing as they can allow it to be. That makes it the act of being a heel and the act of being a babyface in wrestling means you have to upset people, and you have to get them so angry that they're willing to pay money and come and see you get your butt kicked the next time that you're in their town. And it's really hard in that kind of an environment to kind of build the kind of heat and build the kind of do the kind of work and get people emotional the way they need them to be emotional, because they're trying to sell us Coke. They're trying to sell us Cinnamon Toast Crunch. They're trying to sell us Mountain Dew product placement, and they're sponsor them Mountain Dew. It's right there on Man Up's left shoulder there. So it's like that's product placement, ladies and gentlemen. If you weren't sure what I was talking about, that's product placement. So
yeah.
So like that's what it's come down to. You're not gonna see a Cinnamon Toast Crunch graphic on the ring at an NWA show. You're just not going to see that, because that's not what they're there to do.
Yeah.
WWE is a multifaceted entertainment company. It is not a wrestling promotion.
They here to get that, but for all their freaking shareholders, man.
Yeah, that's it.
Make increase revenue, profits, and everything else.
It's clear they don't give a shit where the money comes from either. So
they don't care where the money is coming from. But we can definitely segue into this article, Joey. I'll give it to you. From Bret Hart. Go ahead and talk this, Joey.
This is what I say a lot. It's believability, and if you listen, here's the thing. Go ahead and show this. Go ahead and show first the graphic of John Moxley.
Oh, I didn't. Did I upload that? I think I did. I think I did.
We'll talk about it. Anyway, Bret Hart, basically, you can look it up yourself. Bret Hart basically talking about how big of a joke WWE and AEW are, and how people have lost sight on what sells wrestling in the first place. And that's the believability of it. And, when you see a guy out there on national TV who's a so-called world champion, top guy in the business, allegedly, and he is leaning up in the ring on the ropes or turnbuckle or whatever, what the hell ever he was posted up on his butt, and he pulls a freaking razor out and just cuts his head in front of everybody, and the camera's on him, you have a problem. And the problem is, and you can sit here and argue to me all day long that wrestling's just evolved. It's just changed.
Some things is like you still have to protect some things in regard to the business and whatnot.
Watch that match between Bret Hart and Roddy Piper at WrestleMania 8 and tell me where you see Bret Hart gig himself. You can't find it, I promise you. Because that's the art of professional wrestling. That's the whole point. Is you didn't see him do it. You won't see a guy like that do it. You had two masters wrestlers in that ring, in the Hitman and Roddy Piper. Yeah. This is back in 1992, so I'm not talking back in the 70s here, some horse crap in some smoke-filled bar. I'm talking WrestleMania 8. I'm talking, a huge intercontinental title match between guys, two bona fide freaking megastar legends. Mm-hmm. And there you go. And so I'm just saying, you in Bret's career, you would have never caught him doing something like that. That's professional wrestling. That's the art of it. It's
and
that's the point.
And everyone goes on and saying how Bret's bitter or whatnot. Brett is all about protecting the business. Whatnot. Yeah. But it's like some things like, okay, some things you just don't do. It's like it's
embarrassing.
But as we evolve more and more away from that generation, it's like the traditions and the things that you do are going to the wayside.
Really even when I was in the business, if you had to walk back stage after doing something like that, somebody beat your ass.
Yeah. And there was a time in the early days where you weren't allowed to gig if you couldn't do it properly. You'd get color the hard way backstage.
Yeah.
And then then you'd go out, and then it would just be a tap and it would open, and they wouldn't let you cut yourself if you didn't know how to do it properly, because they didn't want you to expose the business. And if you did do it wrong and you came backstage, they beat your ass so that you knew.
Imagine Wahoo McDaniel being on the other side of the curtain when you came back through after doing some stupid shit like that.
Here's the problem. It goes, and you got to really. I know that it becomes a generational thing, and the younger guys complain and say, "Oh, you're old and you're just bitter." Blah blah blah. It's always the same bullshit.
Right.
Here's the thing. You got to understand where pro wrestling comes from. Pro wrestling came out of the carnival days back in England in the turn of the century. People were legitimate wrestlers and shooters that could tie people up in knots and snap limbs and legitimately submit people. And they realized as they were going along that even if they really knew what they were doing and they were really skilled and really talented, there was still a chance that they were going to get fucked up by somebody in the crowd. Some drunk guy is going to get a lucky shot in and mess them up. So they started putting plants in the audience. That was the beginning of wrestling being scripted. They would put people in the audience. They would offer to wrestle them for money. They would beat them, and they would have people in the audience bet on it, and they would keep the cash. And that's how it. And then that became so, like, they realized this is the way to do it. So they started scripting everything. The point of all of the training that you go through, and the point of all of the work that you do as a technician to become a wrestler, is to make it look believable, so that you and the other guy get to go home and you don't get hurt. Do mistakes matter? Or do mistakes happen? Absolutely. They absolutely will happen. But the whole point of this, the gigging, getting color, learning how to throw a punch so that you don't actually knock the guy's head off, understanding the psychology so that you don't have to overwork and put yourself in dangerous positions so that you do get hurt and without question. Is the whole point of it. That's the point. The point is to simulate violence and nobody gets hurt and everybody gets to go home to their kids and their wives and be healthy and go to the next town.
You do it all over again in the next town.
And if you're not good at that, you're not a pro wrestler.
Correct.
You're just not good at it.
And we can segue into what happened at Supercard of Honor this past week, which as a result of a freaking Canadian destroyer, if I'm not mistaken, through a table.
Right.
Dante Martin broke a lower extremity.
Yeah.
So you
add an element you can't control into a move that's already dangerous, and there's no way to control how a table's going to break. You add a table into the spot in something that already is risky. And why do you do that? You do it because you have to escalate. Why do you have to escalate? Because everybody's already throwing Canadian destroyers all over the place. So if you want it to mean something now you got to do it on a table, or now you got to get up on a scaffold and do it, or now you got to get up on a balcony and do it, and come down 15 feet onto a ring, or whatever the case may be. Yeah. So we're in this pissing match of who can do the craziest outlandish stuff. And you don't come home from that stuff. Like that dude's going to be on crutches probably for a year, because
after his brother was just come off an injury not too long ago.
Yeah, that dude's going to have a pipe put in. Like, he's got the same break that Sid had. He's got the same break that Anderson Silva had. He's got the same break that Conor McGregor had from the lower leg kicks. His legs separated and turned around. So, like, that dude's going to have a pole put through his leg in between his bones just to let the bone be able to fuse back together again. And he's never going to be the same again. No matter how hard he works and rehabs, that dude's not going to have the same mobility or be able to do the same thing ever again. And for a spot on a table. And again, I know that the people I know that people are going to complain and say, well, man, that's just wrestling now. No, it doesn't have to be. It's what it's turned into.
And gone from it is the art of wrestling is the ability to, like Jason said, is the ability to make it look real without actually hurting anybody.
Yeah.
When someone gets hurt to that extent, something, someone somewhere, something went wrong.
Yeah. Like if a dude has to go through a table and rotate 360 degrees through a table, there's no way to know how you're going to land. There's no way to know what the table's going to do to interfere with the way you land. So it's a gamble. You're a stunt man. You're not a wrestler. You're a stunt man.
Did you see where the match with the ending or one of the big spots with El Hijo Del Vikingo and Kenny Omega where he smacked the back of his head on the ring apron doing that stupid 630 off the rope through a table?
Yep.
Yeah. The back of his head on the ring apron. You're an idiot, dude.
So, and I blame, like, I'm looking at the indies, I'm looking at the independents, I'm looking at AEW and the way that they're writing and because they're not putting a priority on psychology, they're not putting a priority on character development, they're not putting a priority on taking more moments in, like, grab a headlock, dude, grab a headlock and talk to the buddy in the ring and like pause, like let the people catch up. It doesn't have to be 16 high spots off of a clothesline. It doesn't have to be.
It's probably why those indies aren't drawing either, a lot of them. So that's what I've had that argument before with people about it. People are like, yeah, indies are happy to get 100 people. Well, that's because you have somebody that doesn't know how to promote. They don't know how to book. End of story. If you can't draw 100 people at an indie show, you don't know what you're doing as a promoter.
It's not like we haven't already played this game and we don't know how this turns out, because we've seen it between WCW and WWE with the rappelling and all this other crap that they had them doing, and Owen falling from the ceiling. There's no point when that needed to be part of the presentation. It didn't need to be. That's the tragedy of it. You're asking a wrestler to be a stuntman. It doesn't need to be that way. I mean, I know I don't need to go off on it, but it's just, I see somebody get injured like that, and that's that dude's livelihood. Like, that's AEW is going to roll on. The machine will continue. He's a cog in the machine. Yeah. But these guys are treating themselves. They're voluntarily stamping expiration dates on their foreheads. Yeah, and essentially saying, like, I'll get the quick money now, and it's worth the celebrity. But dude, you're forgetting what the point of it all is.
Exactly. Man up. You're trying to get in there.
Well, no, I was saying when Joey was talking about that move on the ring apron, I was saying I saw that on GCW, and I thought that was crazy. I mean, the whole point of all of this is like I was saying before, it's like it's a repetitive thing, and I agree with y'all. But at the same time, it's like you're trying to force feed me horse crap and trying to tell me it's ramen noodles. It's like, no, at the end of the day, man, how can I put this? At the end of the day, I look at it
another like product placement.
Yeah.
Man Up's on fire, man.
If you live in Colorado, drink Pepsi.
You got the Minute Maid covered. You got the Mountain Dew. Got the ramen noodles. Keep going, man.
Anyway,
who might put the spotlight on so we can go and point on
this show's gonna be rolling in sponsors.
They cracked me up on that one. Yeah, you talking about this Mountain Dew I got sitting next to me right here. Yep, anyway, my whole point of all of this, what I was saying. Okay, I'm gonna bag it up because I want to make my point here. I want to make my point loud and clear as I can make it.
Madam, did you want to make your point?
No.
Oh, okay.
We're ready.
Nah, but at the end of the day, man, it's like a repetitive thing, and it's like when it's enough, it's enough. That's basically my whole ordeal. I'm gonna try to keep that short and sweet.
Yeah. But the thing is, we see the spots in AEW, then we see the spots in GCW, then we see spots in other independents that are doing death matches. It's like what's next? What's next? It's like, I mean, more power to those who does that. Whatnot.
There's no art. There's no art in taking a giant taped together construct of light bulbs and having it smashed over your head. Like there's no way to work that. No. Like there just isn't. You're showing that you're tough, which is awesome. That's great. Like that's great that you're tough and you can take that hit and take the cuts and bleed and do what you're doing. But man, like again, the point is to sort of like show us, let us care about the violence. Let it mean something. You talk about it being a male soap opera. The reason we were so invested in these people when we were younger and as we grew up and we watched this is because the violence meant something.
Exactly.
There was a point to it, that everything had a reason.
There's not much. I will say this, and I have really tried to go out of my way with certain people with the WWE because I heard people talk about Bianca Belair. They were like, no, she's good, dude. She's good. And I go and watch her stuff, and what do I not see? Any psychology in the match. There's none with her. She's athletic. She can perform moves. She's impressive. She can flip and stuff like that. But I don't see that she can work. And I'm going to go ahead and say that. If you have a problem with me saying the Raw Women's Champion can't work, I'm telling you she can't. And the fact is because in her matches, I watched like her little thing she did with Alexa Bliss. And I'm just like, there's no story here. There's no story in this match. Like these guys, they're just wrestling and performing moves in an order to which they think that it makes sense because it's wrestling and I'm doing moves. But I can't follow it. There's nothing there. There's no meat in it. And I've said the same thing about other talent. I heard you guys on your WrestleMania talk about what's the guy from the Street Profits?
Montez Ford.
Yeah. Oh, he's a breakout star. Show me a match where he does anything with any in-ring psychology because I haven't seen it. All I see when I see him is a very athletic, good-looking guy that can perform moves. I don't see any ability to work a match. I don't see that. And that's probably why he's still stuck in a tag team after all this time, coming out there and having very, very average tag team matches. Great, dude. You can dive over the rope and do flips and stuff. Get me emotionally invested or something and tell a story with your match. I haven't seen it. The Elimination Chamber is a shit show. You can make a point that, oh, did you see him in the Elimination Chamber? Yeah, why was he in there? Because he can do spots. Show me a match where he's got psychology, and I will change my opinion.
Well, in that instant, we can kind of caveat back to what you said in regards to what WWE is. They're a television show that have a ring. It is a parody of wrestling,
but it's still a TV show, and a TV show should have a story.
I understand that, but just going off of what you said, like it's doing a parody of wrestling. So, and in the big part of it is like you said earlier, it's the conditioning as well. Their fans have become conditioned to see some of these high flying guys. They conditioned to see some comedy, some in-ring stuff, and all these things that encompass the WWE product. So,
but at the end of the day, though, I get it that it's just to make money. I get that, and I understand that. But do you think that keep doing the same thing over and over and over is going to keep generating you money?
They do it.
They're doing it. But what I'm trying to say is this. I know they're doing it, and I get that. They've been doing that basically since their existence. But what I'm saying is, these day and age, why do you think WrestleMania went to 2 nights? Vince said it one time himself before. It's because the attention span of people these days is very, 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 very little. So they're doing these hot spots basically to keep your attention. But what I'm trying to say is this stuff, it gets old. You gotta start moving on to something else now. You got to do something different.
You could say that about somebody's attention span, but if you give them a good wrestling match with a good story in it, you'd forget your attention span. I can 100% promise you, as somebody who has lifelong ADHD and can't take the medication due to side effects, hello, I'm that guy. Like, I can't even take medication for my ADHD, but I can follow a good wrestling match. I can forget it. If I'm watching something I'm not invested in, I'm just going to fast forward to the finish.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think there's kind of two problems with the WWE. The WWE has, for all extents and purposes, sort of set themselves up as the caretakers of professional wrestling. They own the merchandise. They have the Hall of Fame. They have the library. They essentially own our childhoods when it comes to sort of like, when you're thinking about the NWA days, thinking about WCW, thinking about ECW, thinking about WCCW, AWA, all of this. They own everything. They have essentially set themselves up as the ones who are responsible to sort of caretake and curate professional wrestling in North America. And I think it hurts fans. It hurts fans to see the level of I don't want to say disrespect, because it's not really disrespect, but it's the lack of consideration for the way things were and the way that they're using the way they're manipulating the product to sort of create placement ads, to create this sort of multi-billion-dollar sort of entity that they've created, and they're doing it off the back of that industry, off of pro wrestling. And I think that's part of the problem. I think if they didn't own all of that stuff, if they weren't if that was a separate thing, or it was independent of them completely, and they were just off on the side doing their own thing, I don't think people would care as much, to be honest. I think a lot of it is because they've set themselves up as sort of the owners of the industry in many ways, because they own this. They don't own pro wrestling per se, but they certainly have the percentage of the history of it they own.
Well, let me ask you this, and this brings us to another point, because we got to get off of this.
Yeah.
And this is something we've been talking about offline. Why do you think it is so difficult for people, even if you're a lifelong fan of WWE, if you like wrestling action, why is it so difficult for tribal WWE fans to give any other wrestling a real chance? And I'm not talking about I'll watch a New Japan match or I'll watch an Impact match. I'm talking about, if you're so pissed off with WWE, stop watching that and start watching something else and just see if you like what they're doing. Watch it for weeks. Follow the story and see if you like this better. Why is that so hard for the tribal, like WWE fans to do? Because they're not willing to do it. Most WWE fans, they are not willing to do it.
Some of it's an access thing, I think, sometimes. So some of it's like how they get access to some of it. Not all of it, but some of it. Yeah. Some of it's not understanding the historical context of it and sort of having to do the legwork to sort of understand that and figure it out. If you like video games, for example, like if you're a video game player and you like leveling up stuff, you will love All Japan Pro Wrestling and Wrestling Noah. You will love it. They literally have, the way they book is they have what they call Kings Road style, which means that they upgrade their moves as they go through matches. And when they go through programs with people, if these people are more of a challenge, they have to use a more serious move on them. They all have like 4 or 5 possible finish moves that they can use in the context of a match. And depending on how serious the match is, it escalates. And so if you're into video games, you'd love that style.
Well, the Japanese wrestling is a lot harder to access. I'm talking about easy to access. The NWA has an hour and a half of content on YouTube every week for free. Yeah. Impact Wrestling puts up tons of matches for free on their YouTube channel. I mean, and honestly, they are on TV in a lot of outlets, but they have other opportunities to get it for $6.99 on YouTube, $6.99 a month. You can get Impact Insiders, watch the TV commercial free every week, get all kind of special events like the Multiverse of Matches thing that aired live on Insiders, stuff like that at a relatively
it's worth watching. It's worth watching. The product is good. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Ring of Honor 2. Honor Club. That's an option.
AEW putting television on there every week, if you want to try that.
Yeah.
Go ahead, man. Up though. I want your point.
Yeah. Okay, I wasn't trying to interrupt. No, but it's really up to people and what they like and don't like. For example, I'm gonna go back to this. If you like Mountain Dew, you're gonna stick with that because that's what you like. You might try a Sprite. You might,
But you're complaining about the Mountain Dew. We're saying if you're like, hey, that needs to taste different and it won't change the taste, or they change it and you don't like the way it tastes, why are you going to keep drinking it just because you're loyal to Mountain Dew for some reason?
Hear me out. Hear me out on what I'm trying to say. Hear me out. Hopefully I can explain this the best way possible for people. If they like Mountain Dew, but they say they want a sugar-free, I don't know, I'm just throwing something stupid out there. Sugar-free Mountain Dew, and they won't make it, okay? Yeah, they might sit it to the side and say, you know what, no more of this. I'm just going to drink some water. But you say, Joey, why don't you try this here soda instead? Why don't you try this soda instead? Nah, I'm good. You know, it's whatever. It's people's preferences on what they want to do.
That doesn't match my question, though. That doesn't answer my question.
I'm trying to get there. What I'm trying to say is this. You could throw people the options all day long. You can say, you don't like this, try this instead. You can throw it out there all you want. It's up to that particular person if they want to do it. Now, I know what you're saying. Yeah, we all know there's a bunch of other options out there for your wrestling entertainment. Everybody knows that. But it's like you're beating a dead horse. It's like you're wasting your time. It's up to them if they want to do it or not. That's just what it comes down to. That's it. It's up to them. You can give them the option. You can say, I know this is what you like, but try this instead. If they don't want to try this here over here, you're wasting your time.
That doesn't answer my question, though. I'm just letting you know that's not what I'm asked. I don't think you might not understand my question, like, because that's not to me an answer. That doesn't answer the question.
You said, how come the person who likes this and now dislikes it don't want to go try this over here?
I don't think that's a good analogy talking about like soft drinks. I think
I'm just trying to give an example. If no matter what it is that they like, if they don't want to do it, just let it be. Just let it be. People know that there are other options out there. Know that. They know that. People know that there's WWE. People know that there's New Japan. People know that Impact. People know there's AEW.
Right.
People can even, if they don't like today's WWE, they can go back and watch the history back in the 80s and 90s if they want to, you know, because I have a friend that does that. He will not go past 2012, I think, 10 or whatever. He will watch from then on back, you know. But what I'm trying to say is this. People know that there's other options. They just don't want to do it. Let them be. That's all I'm saying. Just let them be.
But that doesn't answer the question. The question is why.
Because that's what they want to do. I just said this is what they want, and if they want to stay there,
that doesn't really
personal preference, brand personal preference, brand loyalty, tribalship, like you said, Joe. So
I mean, the companies.
I'm gonna give another example.
Why watch the same thing if you don't like it?
Let it be. Just let it be. That's all I'm saying. I'm gonna give another example. This is personal to me. My favorite shoes to wear all the time is Nike. My wife has a line of different brands, and she asked me one day, "How come I don't want to wear any other brand of shoes?" I said, "Only time I wear other brands, of course, is work." But I said, "This is what I want, and I'm sticking with it." And she let it be. She left it alone. If they want to stick to this, whether they like it, whether they're complaining, people are going to complain no matter what. You know that. Everybody knows that. We old enough. We know that.
Okay.
Let it be. That's all I'm saying.
Anybody else? Because I'm confused a little bit.
I would piggyback off that and say I get where he's coming from, and I understand what he's saying in terms of brand loyalty, because the companies has spent a lot of money over the last 20 years making us prioritize WCW, ECW, WWE, AWA, whatever the company was. It was always more about the promotion than it ever was about the individuals in it. They started to make the promotions more important than the people in it. The promotion is, you were always like, you weren't seeing Hulk Hogan on something unless WWF or WWE was plastered all over it at the same time. They made sure with the placement that the brand itself became the priority. And I think that where we're at right now as a hobby, as wrestling enthusiasts watching it, it's pretty hard not to be not to bleed a certain color if you've had that jammed down your throat for 20 years.
And I'll say something that we're gonna put a bow on this because we literally talked about this for over 40 minutes.
Yeah.
It all comes. This kind of like goes into what Man Up was saying in regard if that's what they know and that's what they like and they complain about it but they still watch it. Let them be. WWE kind of they kind of I don't want to say own the people, but their tagline on every single time one of their shows comes on, it says "Then, now, forever, together." It kind of tells like we're in the and they constantly reinforce that.
Reinforces my point, which is tribalism.
And
what does tribalism lead to? I'm going to leave it at that and let you think about that. If you understand what tribalism leads, it leads to a lot of unhealthy things. But I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that.
With that being said, Joey, it's that time, sir. It's that time.
All right. So, a while back, first month of Ring of Honor came out on Honor Club. I paid the $9.99 or whatever it was to watch it. And there was one particular group on that show that led me to not renew my second month. Because not only are these guys not over, but they are over like a fart in church. I'm talking about the Trust Busters. Good God, could people care any less about anything in the world than these guys, in world of wrestling than these guys? Especially, mainly, Arya Daivari and Slim J. I guess you got to put them on TV every single week and shove them down my throat. And that is why I no longer subscribe to Honor Club. I gave it a genuine chance. And
every week, though?
It's all
every week
it's
they were
Slim
on
J's fault. It's all Slim J's fault.
I'm partial to him because he's an NWA Wildside guy, but the point is like, dude, you're going to shove somebody down my throat, I'm going to change the channel. And especially when I don't care about them. And it's like, they're on the show every single week in every match. And I'm like, yep, I'm done.
Oh, man.
I paid $10 for that month and watched it. And there were some good parts about it and bad parts. The Trust
You
Busters.
must not know you're talking about Parker Boudreaux, who was supposed to be the next Brock Lesnar.
That dude?
That's what they were saying. That's what they were saying before he got signed in NXT. That's going to be the next big thing.
All right, I'll take your word for it.
All right, but
you must not know who you're talking about.
All right, but you subscribe. You just subscribe to Ring of Honor. As everybody know, Ring of Honor is doing that shows exclusively on Honor Club. What did stand out to you? Since you did have it for a month, what did stand out to you with the Ring of Honor presentation?
Athena is a really strong, nasty heel, and I enjoyed it. She's probably the best wrestler on that Ring of Honor roster right now. And it's because she is a really good heel that's really embraced it, really does good work with it and has good matches. She's an exceptional wrestler.
Awesome.
And other than her, they had a match with Zack Sabre Jr. and Blake Christian for the New Japan Pro Wrestling World TV title. And that was really good. That's about it.
Dang. Everything else, well, it wasn't the Trust Buster, but
everything else was so-so. That's what I'll say about that. I'm not impressed by AR Fox. I'm not impressed.
Yeah, how are you feeling about the whole Ring of Honor sort of separate brand thing, Joey? How what are we getting?
Are we headed in the right direction?
Are we going in the right direction? Or are we getting WWE's version of
ECW? No, it's not that bad. God knows it's not that bad. It's not. No. It's I mean they've done what they can to hire up a lot. I mean, I got to see Silas Young on there. Shane Taylor made an appearance, and then they didn't have the match at the pay-per-view. That was kind of odd.
And when I say that, I don't mean like in terms of comparable styles of work. I'm talking about like giving us diet version of this brand, like
No,
using the
it's
brand as a marketing point.
No, I mean, it's fine. The problem is it's in Florida, which is not a Ring of Honor crowd.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not where Ring of Honor really toured much. They're mostly a northeastern kind of to the mid-Atlantic area, kind of, Maryland, PA, New York.
Really a Philly company, really.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of where they're kind of coming out of, and you've got them in Florida. And it does have a different feel. It doesn't, to me, it doesn't have that Ring of Honor complete feel, but it's not so far removed. I would call it WWECW.
All right, but all right. So, all right, moving on from there, Joey. You stopped the Honor Club, and you said you picked up a new subscription. Did you not?
Yep, I subscribe to Impact Insiders because I really enjoy what Impact Wrestling is doing right now.
Okay. Now, for those who don't know, what is Impact Insider?
So basically, it's a subscription on YouTube. They have different levels. For like $1.49, you could subscribe and just watch the weekly TV show, and then you have access to some things. Impact Insiders, you get special events live, like Multiverse of Matches. It's kind of like basically some of the stuff they're doing is combo with New Japan. There's like stuff where Josh Alexander did commentary over a match from New Japan that was Ace Austin and Chris Bay wrestling Kevin Knight and Kushida in the Best of Super Juniors tag team tournament. So that was really interesting, kind of hearing Josh Alexander's insight on that. You get some different things, and you get access to the pay-per-views 30 days after the original air date.
Okay.
So not as long as like Honor Club being like 90 days after the pay-per-views air. With Impact, it's like 30 days and you can watch the pay-per-view fully and everything like that. There's a lot of exclusive content on there, interviews and stuff like that with the talent. You've got an entire backlog of Impact and TNA wrestling on there.
And Impact is probably doing the most co-promotional work in North America right now, really. So
they've got the most solid partnership with New Japan right now.
So if you're looking for a way to sort of look into more Japanese wrestling or AAA Mexican wrestling or other styles of wrestling, that's a great place to start.
Yeah.
And they literally have the best women's division I think exists in professional wrestling. I cannot say enough good things about Deonna Purrazzo. I'm like, if you have not seen that woman wrestle, the virtuosa, you're missing out. She is spectacular. Yeah. She is a fantastic, and I'm not comparing her just to other women. I'm saying in general, as a professional wrestler, she is a really good professional wrestler.
So yeah, I just got the new edition of Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and it did a feature on the knockouts. I got to go in and take a look at that. Gail Kim, one of the people synonymous with the knockouts division, is the producer there. So
yes,
so it shows, Joe. It shows.
Yep, and I know that Jazz has been doing some producing with them too at some points. Mm-hmm. So they got a lot of talent back there, a lot of expertise. You got Mickey on the roster, who's a player coach. You got what's her name? Why is my brain not working?
Yeah,
Jonathan Gresham's wife, Jordan Grace.
You got
Jordan Grace. You've got Kylan King just signed and became one half of the tag champions
with Taylor Wilde.
Yeah, it's a ridiculous amount of talent. They got the other half of the Ring of Honor roster essentially there. So, I mean, it's exceptional. Jonathan Gresham went there now. You got Speedball Mike Bailey. Mm-hmm. Just a ridiculous roster that Scott D'Amore has put together at this point.
And I was going to get to that when you was talking about Scott D'Amore and the update on that end as well.
Yep, became the president of Impact Wrestling, been given the full reins of the place, and I see nothing but good things happening. And I can't if there's any company I'm going to support this year, it's definitely going to be Impact Wrestling. I love what they're doing.
They're doing it the right way. They're focusing on the live events, and they're making sure that
crowds are getting bigger, like we talked about offline. The crowds are getting bigger. Everything.
That's the promotion to watch this year, I think, for sure.
They got a lot of New Japan talent there. Kushida, Kenta. Coming through and having lots of matches. Those are guys that are living in the United States. but are New Japan contracted talent that are getting exposure there. And
so and you're seeing a New Japan Strong sort of presence within Impact, which is their LA dojo. So
I'm curious. I'm curious to see how it goes with their upcoming show, in which they crown the new world champion, Steve Macklin with Kushida. So I'm definitely curious to see how they go about that.
I'm hoping to be surprised by that match. It's kind of got a big man, little man feel, but Kushida is such an exceptional technical wrestler in his own right. I think it'll be really good. I think Steve Backlund stands to learn a lot in the ring with Kushida too.
Absolutely,
he's exceptional.
Absolutely. Well, guys, we are coming up to the top of the hour. But before we get up out of here, as we do every month, we definitely want to highlight what our upcoming schedule is here at Bells and Belts. And we of course tonight we have our free for all. Next week, we'll be back to the three of us and me Man Up and Broseph. We're going to discuss our top 10 favorite feuds. These are our feuds that have garnered our attention, and we're going to talk about that. The week after that, we're going to do the top 5 national tag titles, and the winner from my poll, the U.S. tag team titles. So, and then from there, we're gonna April the 24th on a Monday night. Yes, we're gonna be live on a Monday night. We'll be welcoming Antonio Mendoza from Mendoza Craft. He does leather work, and we're gonna have him in the spotlight. He's gonna educate us on a couple of things. And then we're gonna close out the month with our career retrospective again. This month will be on Ted DiBiase, who won the poll that we put up in the Bells and Belts group. So that's the upcoming schedule. Definitely some stuff to look forward to there, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I guess we had one thing we didn't talk about, something from wrestling news.
Oh,
and I just want to make a point by saying something about it. Here at Bells and Belts, we don't support any hatred, regardless of life choices, gender, anything like that. And I felt bad hearing about Rick Steiner's encounter with Giselle Shaw of Impact Wrestling over the weekend, where they were both at a signing. And just want to say it's really sad, and I don't know why anybody, I'm not a huge fan of Giselle's as far as it goes. She's not necessarily my type of wrestler, but she's good, and I hate to see anyone have to get berated like that, or
wrestling and the belt hobby in general should be for everybody, and there's no place for that kind of divisive kind of old school bullshit. So it needs to go away.
I agree.
Absolutely. With that said, guys, we made the time limit. I ring the bell, and we're gonna end this episode of Bells and Belts. Man up. What can folks do for us on the way out?
Well, I hope y'all had your popcorn, and I hope y'all was ready to sit down and eat. Now that we're done, I want y'all to go ahead and go onto YouTube to like and subscribe to this. When you subscribe, make sure you hit all notifications, so that way anytime we do something, you'll be notified. Joey, what can they do on Facebook?
Well, we'd like for you to join our Facebook group, Bells and Belts Podcast, where you can be interactive with the creative. Like they said, we're going to be covering top 5 NWA US Tag Team Champions and top 5 NWA National Tag Team Champions. We couldn't quite do a top 10 on the US Tag title because there's only like 13 champions and teams in history. So there really wasn't enough to pick from, but literally that creative comes from the polls we have over there. And we really, we try to put up some choices we think you'll like, and people have been receptive to that. Also, there's exclusive content on Facebook that you're not going to get on YouTube, and vice versa. And then I want to pass it over to Jason, tell them another group they can join.
Exactly.
Yeah, if you enjoy wrestling trivia, wrestling news, and quizzes and things like that, definitely come check us out at Champions Belt Club. We do daily trivia, and we have a really exciting and kind of fun, I think, Friday fantasy booking poll that we go through every week. And So yeah, we're having a good time in there, and we're growing quick. So we're hit 490 this week, and we're on our way up. So thank you for your support. Thanks for checking us out.
Awesome. And as always, Jason, we're always grateful whenever we can have you here on the panel. Your insight is truly invaluable. So for Man Up, for Brosa, for Jason, I'm your boy Cedric D, and we will see you guys next week right here on Bells and Belts.